Good morning, everybody. Brian King here. Sorry about that. Someone tried to call. I've joined a lot of ADHD parent groups lately. Hey, and by the way, if you're here, let me know. Click like, say hi, give me some love, just so I know you showed up here. And the sun's coming in right through the window here. I hope it's not blocking out my face too much. But like I was saying, I've joined a lot of parent groups lately on Facebook. And one thing I see happening is something that I refer to as the one tool rule. You know, parents who have kids that are struggling, Asperger's, ADHD, end up with parents who feel like they're struggling because they're trying so hard to help their kids. They don't like seeing their kids in pain, and they feel pain of their own because they feel ineffective. They feel like they're not making progress. Then suddenly they find this tool, this new strategy, this new approach, and they start using it, they start seeing results, and they feel so successful and they're so excited. It can almost be like taking your first hit of caffeine or something, and you feel this rush. You're like, yes, I feel great. Now I'm going to stick with this. This is my savior. This is the golden goose. I'm sticking with it. And they start engaging in something that I call the one tool rule, which is they love the fix it's giving them because they're feeling like they're making progress finally. They feel like they're getting somewhere. They feel like their child is making progress finally, which is wonderful. But because you were so needy for feeling progress, for feeling successful, that you put all your eggs in this basket, you get very married to this one strategy. You get very inflexibly loyal to this strategy, and you will defend it at all costs. Because what I see happening is parents, they find this new approach, this new technique, and then I will offer something in addition to it, and they're like, no, this is what we're doing. We're using this approach. We're using this strategy. And they're defending it like it was their spouse. You know what I mean? And it's kind of unfortunate to see because in their search for something to be effective, to be helpful for their child, they develop a kind of intellectual inflexibility and emotional inflexibility because they're afraid that if something else gets added to the mix, that it might not work. Well, we know this works. We've been using this effectively. This works. So I'm not going to consider something else because what if it doesn't work and robs me of this feeling of progress? So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to listen. I'm going to protect myself, and I'm going to stay with my tunnel vision and just fixate on this. So I just really wanted to caution you about succumbing to the one tool rule. It's wonderful to find things that work, but it can be at the expense of growth when you stop considering things because this one thing that you've latched onto is meeting your needs so fundamentally and so wonderfully. And see, there was one more thing I wanted to say about that. Well, it escaped me. Paul, Jessica, thank you so much for chiming in. If you have any comments on this, I'd love to hear what you think. Because I know that this, looking for new strategies to help yourself, to help other people that you work with is very, very important to both of you. Yeah, and you hear my kids chattering in the background. And yeah, they have off school today. Not entirely sure why, but I love having them around. But the one tool rule is something that also parents use to connect with one another. I think that's the thing I was meaning to say, is they find other parents that are using the same strategy. And they hear, oh, you're using that too? Oh, I'm using that too. Oh, isn't it wonderful? Isn't it the best? And now it's a way that they can connect with one another. So now where they maybe before felt alone, they now have a sense of camaraderie. So that reinforces the desire to stick with the one tool and not learn other things. So parents, even though they are excited about making progress and getting somewhere, they don't realize how they may, in fact, be stymieing their own growth. Oh, here's what I wanted to say. And when you're making progress with the one tool and your kid is growing, one thing that can unfortunately happen is you will exhaust the capacity of that tool. You will take your kid as far as they can go with that tool, and then maybe you stop and think, this is as good as it's going to get. well, we've done everything this approach told us to. We've done everything this expert said. And this is as far as he can go. Well, I think we should just be grateful for the progress that we made. Rationalize, rationalize, rationalize. And it all comes back to wanting to stay married to the one tool that met the need of feeling like you were making progress, like you were finally a competent parent, like you were finally taking care of your child the way you wanted to the whole time. So this is something that is very, very important to think about. I run into so many parents who are caught up in this. You know, I can see other areas where they might be able to benefit from adding something, adding a new ingredient to their technique, and they'll say, no, we're good. We're fine. We're making progress. You know, with this person, we've been with 3 years and we've only, moved an inch, but hey, it's progress, right? Or they're reading a book and they're trying a couple things and say, well, I've heard a lot of good things about this author, therefore I'm just going to stick with this. And even though they could be making more progress and experiencing less anxiety and less frustration and have things happening more quickly, they're so married to the one idea, to the one approach, that they won't budge. And ultimately, they suffer and their child suffers. So, Claire, thank you for joining in. So those of you who joined late, you can easily watch the replay. Add some comments below about what you think about this idea. Have you seen it apply to yourself? Do you see others that it applies to? If you want to ask me some private questions, just private message me. And if there are other people that you think could really benefit from this message, share and share liberally so that more people can benefit. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'll be back real soon.